Great and beautiful morning and evening to you all, wherever you are joining me at this hour. Welcome to 550 edition of Investitor Trading Academy Live with Ambrose. Yes, I'll tell you that the market globally is mixed as to speak, but good news to NGS here in Nigeria. Our market has extended the positive momentum we have seen for the past 7 to 8 trading days, consistently. That tells you that the market is really preparing for what's expected for this last quarter of the year. I believe that for those who understand how to deal with seasonality, you know what the end of the year comes with. Yes, look at what is happening globally as to speak now. We'll start from Asia market to see what is happening there. Asia market is also missed as to speak. We're seeing that the rally that we are seeing in Japan has slowed down as people take profit, which is a part of market dynamics. At the same time, also, we're seeing that volatility in that market is also limited because of what the China and South Korea actually experiencing their market holidays. That market in that domain is not on as to speak. But generally, you can see that Asia market has also kind of restricted this morning as in Hong Kong shares was in that tech companies are dropping in terms of their shares price and looking at that also a way on that market in terms of Asia market activity generally. But good news again that investors also trading what is happening, trading kind of tracking or trading what is happening, in Wall Street in U.S. market. Don't forget that U.S. market we saw a pullback in the market yesterday after market amplified, the shutdown government all this while. But yesterday we saw a pullback. But this morning we're seeing that the Asia market has kind of trailing that trend we saw in red. As we speak, after touching a peak, we're seeing a pullback in most of the technology stock I've said earlier, and this also are linked toward the chip makers and other cloud service and also artificial stocks, artificial intelligence stocks. These are the things also happening in that region as to speak. And I believe that also what is happening in terms of global politics or children here and there. This advert also has come as U.S. Government shutdown has stretched on and why this political crisis and also in France deepened again. Gold in this regard have hit almost a new all-time high of 4,000 dollar for gold in Asia market as we speak. I'll tell you that is also alternative market that you see that things are really becoming attractive in that alternative market where gold and what's happening also in commodity market. Commodity market was seen up and down in oil price, and that also as a result of what OPEC planning to also increase production in November, and at the same time what is happening in Middle East and the sea in Ukraine and Russia, that are going to keep the market oscillating in terms of the commodity market. But low price of commodities, especially crude oil, is a plus for most of the big economy like China and US, where they need more to drive their economy. But I'll tell you that all eyes are still on what on the minutes of Fed to see also where that also give investors or market player insight what's going to happen going to the future. But don't forget that this is another month we are going to see a lot of companies rolling in the world their earnings for the world for the third quarter ended September. That was also part of going to shape the market as expected that most of these tech giants might likely release a missed numbers. That's also why we are seeing that there are some sell-off in these tech companies as we speak. But I believe that investors are looking at what is happening in the market and making informed decision. I tell you that in any market, understanding what is happening in your domain will help you to make what informed investment decision. Like I said earlier, that Japan stocks are cooling off from the rally that was witnessed last week and early this week also. As to speak now, they are also seeing profit taken in that market. That's why as to speak now, I'll tell you that Japan Nikkei 225 index is flat as to speak now, and that's also what we also expect. And why the South Korea also are seeing a kind of the top X index is up by 0.7. Both index traded below their record highs this week because of what profit taken after the fiscal dove by this new elected prime minister in that environment from liberal political party. Let's see how far is going to go. But I tell you that all eyes and say what will Japan stock look like? Where is it going? For the victory that that the new prime minister is getting from what is going to be the all setting up from her, what is the next level. These are the things we expect that it will shape the Japan economy and also monetary policy. But I tell you that the oppose of more rate hike also. Let's see if this oppose of more rate hike by the back of Japan. Let's see how all this is going to play out with their new political dimension, new prime minister, and all. Let's see how this is going to be to investors. If they sell off, or before they said they're going to sell some of their bond off, let's see how all this is going to play out in Japan. Don't forget that Japan is one of also the biggest economy there after China and all those in the Asia market. You can't put Japan away because of industrialization or the production base of that country. For that, we're seeing that other markets in that in that region, we're seeing some individual stocks also that are also looking down, or why some also looking up because of one news or the other. But I believe that investors in this domain should pay attention to what will impact their price positively. We look away from Japan and see what is happening in Australia. Australia market is down by 0.1 as we speak now. Singapore is also down by 0.4. You can see that the sentiment in Asia market has changed. Bringing in weakness and also lower movement of what their index. That tells you that yes, investors are really looking at now that all eyes are still on what and I believe that this pullback was in this market also guided. But that's why I said our topic today is what how to trade what news using chart. We want to also how all this will play out on your chart for you to read the direction of the market. India market as we speak also is up marginally. Okay, Nifty 50 index is up marginally. This morning trading above the 5,000 basic point as we speak. I'll tell you that all eyes are focused on what on third quarter earnings I mentioned early, with Indian tech major consultant also trying to pull out their results out. That we believe that the result will come in at the end of the day or come out from next week. We're going to see this result shaping this market as we expected. Don't forget that it is what price freedom earnings in any market is very, very important. Just like also here. But in Euro market, we see that there's another dimension this morning. We see that the Euro stocks are opening on a strong green, as investors eye the political crisis in France. But despite that, we're we're seeing that stocks in Europe, European market are looking up this midweek as equity in France are performing other indices in that region, despite the ongoing political crisis or people want to call it in that country. But see that their stocks are looking up. I mean, there's something investors are seeing, even while prices going there, aiming at what at the end of the day. I believe that's why no panicking why stocks are going up in that region. Let's wait and see at the end of the day. I'll tell you that all the indices in that market are in green. We can see that the second largest economy, which is in that region, which is France, was seeing it that also is closing again. Why that of Germany, the biggest economy, is also up by 0.3, and also that of UK, FTSE 100 is also in green as we speak. But for me, the France CAC 40 is up almost 0.8% as we speak. This index has also been volatile throughout this week, but fueled by what surprising the resolution of the prime minister of that domain, and that also have triggered some movement, forming a new government and other setup. These are the things that is also. But despite this, we're seeing that the market is looking up. You can see that investors react in different direction when event. That's why you must look at your chart when you are trading to see what the sentiment in the market is before we call a pre-section, during the section, and also how the market react to such information or such a sentiment or such news in the market is very, very important. Beyond the France, we're seeing that other European automobile sectors also are looking down as we speak after Germany luxury car maker BMW saw that a slash of earnings forecast. In that slash in their earnings forecast for 2025 also is part of what is weighing on that company shares as we speak now. Even also citing the shifting of US tariff policy and all on this all important Chinese vehicle. See how all this is going to play out going into the future. But I believe that we're seeing that the Eurozone was seeing a recovery in there this morning. The market is strong. Like I said earlier, that gold has topped $4,000 as we speak. Put also another investment vehicle or window that investors are looking at just to play safe haven as we speak. Looking at what is happening. But I tell that market participants, like the private investors or equity investors are taking advantage of this instrument to run for work, safe haven to protect their capital during a time of this political upheaval and economic uncertainties. But I believe that we are seeing different shifts in kind of fundamental in policy of monetary policy, fiscal authorities, And this is also going to reflect on company performance in any domain where you are trading. That means you must pay attention to what is happening in this environment so that you can take informed investment decision at the end of the day. It's very, very important that investors pay attention to this because this is the only way you can make what informed investment decision. Yes, before we go to looking at Africa, let's look at what is happening in the US market. US market at this hour, yesterday we saw that the market trying to like stabilize gradually after market slump yesterday. We're seeing that this hour we're seeing that market trying to come up but with a miss bag of headlines about the artificial intelligence and also economic background, uncertainties over the economic and also the expected meanings for what from Fed. These are the things that you do. Don't forget that the Federal Reserve was supposed to release their meanings from what the last meeting. And at the same time, I told you that this shutdown in government also that have lingered all this one is also part of what's also sudden and miss reaction in US. But good news that this morning the market is almost flat, pointing up from what you saw yesterday, a market pullback. As we speak now, in US, at this moment, market is flat as investors assess fresh worries over what over the AI's boom and also different type of economic outlook, despite the lack of economic data because of what the fear of government shutdown, and even when the president have threatened that any shutdown will lead to what massive what sack or what or retrenchment or whatever you call it. But I believe that the investors are paying attention all this in that domain because if market is trying to look up at this hour, something is also coming. And that's why I say you must follow the sentiment in the market, looking at your chart anytime to read the pattern and also where the market is moving to is very, very important. And when it's noise in the market, it means also how can you filter those noise in the market. All these are things we'll be discussing after looking at what is happening in this market globally and also in our domain here in Nigeria. I mentioned the price of gold up. But I believe that as the minutes of Fed also come, will give you more insight on what's expected. That also change the sentiment in the market. Like I said earlier, that most of the the big tech companies are looking at the AIs, the expected capital raise and all those stuff to boost. Let's see how far it's going to play out in that region in US. But don't forget that the economy of the world is going towards digital. Having digital economy and to drive digital economy, you need this artificial intelligence. You need all these tech companies to be there, to be strong, and also to have a good ecosystem that will hold any economy, any country or economy, digital economy. You need to have a strong world, strong connectivity, a strong ecosystem, friendly ecosystem of your network and all that work is that your payment platform, everything of it. And I believe that is why talking of raising funds for this tech company is also a good one to make them also to be stronger, to do more for the economies where they are. But right now, go to Africa. Africa market, as we speak right now, is not doing badly. Most of the Africa market are in green, and which is good news forward for our investors in those markets. Back to Nigeria, I'll tell you that our market is also in order as we speak, extending what we have experienced or what we have witnessed in the last 8 trading days. If you look at the chart here, you can see that the market is maintaining that uptrend. Even we are seeing a kind of a slowdown here for yesterday and this hour. We are not seeing a stronger leap. The story is telling us that here market is trying to the double top that at this point a breakout of this will be good. But good news that market is also trading above 145,000 mark. It's also a good news. Right now, I want to look at the market data, what we are seeing on NGS. If you look at NGS, I tell that the trade rate for today has been between 145,000 and 24.38 to almost 1,000 and 146,000 and then 133 as we speak right now. So that the market is still very, very strong as to speak. For me, let's wait and see. If you look at the market remains strong. We're having a 23 advancer right now and a 16 decliner in the market. That means investors are taking advantage of what the market ahead of any season to do what called portfolio rebalancing and sector rotation that is ongoing. As also bargain hunters are taking advantage of pullback in some strong company with strong fundamental. Any pullback in their price is opportunity to buy in. So that is what is happening in the market right away as we speak. And investors are not taking a dull moment. They are taking advantage of any pullback in stock that has fundamental to buy into value, and that is the way to go to make money in this market. You must understand where the market is going, and also I will tell you today that a lot of bull cases for the market, more than the bear cases. If that is, is what we're expecting to see the market in this last quarter of the year, and and also that comes with seasonality to also create wealth for investors that are designing. This is how you should invest as you speak. It's the only way you can stay ahead by taking action at the right time, and also looking at what is happening in the market lively, and also combining your fundamental and your technical analysis to make informed decision. Yes, back to our topic for today. Before we continue our chatting, we want to use some of the chat also to explain the topics for today. Also, quickly, our topic for today is how to trade news with chart and filter market noise. It's very, very important. To start with, what is market news? What are the factors that provide the news in the market? Then you need to know, you want to trade that those news is what you want to trade. What will be your decision perception? That means where this information hit the market, during the information hit the market, and also after the information that hit the market, you must understand all this. Once you're able to understand the chart will receive the reviews to you, and that is why if you have the dates that all these companies, all these news that will come, especially those news that are regular, they are one that can come once in a while. For those that do that is part and part of the market or the economy that will come regularly, you have to also plan to trade those news as what as a trader or investor. It will help you to understand what the market is doing. Because of that, I will take that the factor that trigger market anywhere in the world are looking at what the interest rate direction is, it up and down, and that is the outcome of what the monetary policy meetings either in mature economy or down here in our market. That's why in Europe, in US, you see that when it comes to your interest rate either hike or left or change or cut, you see that market react to it. The outcome of these meetings have a war shaping sentiment in the market. You must also understand it. But here in Nigeria, the factors that will operate is that it is circular flow of funds, which is a function of what the rate direction. And now we can see that in Nigeria, we have just given we made a first step of a cutting rate by 50 basis points. How it's going to impact our market? You can see that even since that day, it was cut in September. It was after the when people analyzing the next day, you can see that market has been in uptrend till now. Good for me, it's a good one for the market. Other factors that can also, as the market news that can also fit trigger market or news that can trigger the market, what we call the economic data release. What is the release of this economic data, and what are the economic data that trigger market? One of them is what is the consumer price index, which is the inflation report or inflation data, call it. They will talk about GDP, is it first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, and this come to the market, and you know that GDP will to come. They also going to also influence the market positive or negatively. But what also you look at what we call the PMI, which is the Purchasing Manager Index, is very, very key. When it's expanding, you know the impact on the economy and companies. When it's also contracting, you know the impact on the economy and also on the company. You must pay attention to this. Another one is very, very important is what international trade balance. Is very, very key. Are we exporting more or are we importing more? That has the work also affecting the what we call the currency of the country, especially Nigeria here where we import more on imported goods. Also the exchange rate is part of it because of what your trade balance international work also determine whether your currency will be weak or not. It's a part of it that you must pay attention. Another one is what we look at unemployment rate is very, very key. To consider when these are the information that can change the market. Another information that can change the market, they're talking about what political tension. You can see what is happening in the world today. Here the political tension here and there, geopolitical tension here and there because of what crisis, war, and other stuff. And also trade agreement also can also trigger change the direction of the market. You must pay attention that what are the news that will change market. Because if you want to trade the news, you must understand the news that come first before you can use your chart to interpret it. If you don't understand the news, when they're going to come, you know that there are some companies that come regularly, news that come regularly. You know that for inflation figure, you see it every month. For your MPC meeting or corporate meeting, it comes every 2 months. Some economy is one every month. It depends. You must understand where you are and know how to plan this economic event. Because the decision that comes out from that event, as it was shaping the economy, you must pay attention to it. Another one very important is corporate earnings. Corporate earnings is very, very important. And also, what are the part of the high caps in that economy, that the market that's also impacting. We understand that every company has to release their results, no matter your financial year, whether it is the physical year of January to December or March to March, September to September, you must release your quarter results. It's part of your post-trade requirement for that investor. The market will know what is happening, where they have put their money. They want to assess the management, the board, and also what progress are making because it is this number that price is feed on. It is what they are doing with time, whether they will be dividend or not. These are the news that will also influence market anytime, any day. Another one that's very, very important that sentiment, in each sector. Also, you can see also some sentiment for a stock, not only that, but market have sentiment for it. That sentiment is key. The positive sentiment for some sectors, or the negative. Then you want to also read it using your chart to know this sentiment. It's very, very important that we do that. And what are the tools you use to know to read or to filter noise or this news? I mentioned chart already, but there are others we can also use to know what to filter the noise in the market. The part of them is when you are seeing a volume spike in the market, it sends a signal to you. Don't joke with it. Whether market is going up, you see that volume spike, or market is coming down, or for an individual company, you see volume, you need to know why. Is it that acquisition is taking place? Is it that they are buying somebody out, or somebody is buying somebody out? No, these are the things we should pay attention with, because these are things that you can usually use to filter noise in the market, because you don't want to give it direct. But yes, also money also a divergence between price and what and momentum. Look at it, pay attention to it. What is that price is going up, momentum is going down, something is happening. These are how you can filter the noise, apart from the one we want to talk about time frame, we are focused on trend, and they are good. But I want to this one then is one you must pay attention to, because any market there must be time frame to kind of filter noise, whether we are using a chart or these are also good. But I'm telling you, things that are very, very important. You must pay attention to what volume spike, pay attention to the difference between price and momentum. The next one is the smart money move. The smart money, the institutional investor, where are they at? Because they are the one that bring the smart money that provide good fund to the market. And when they are buying, they are about to see prices going up in anywhere they are entering. And that is why they don't trade in every stock. The stock that has volume and stock that has volatility. You can't see stock that is less than that is small cap stock. When they enter that kind of stock, it is then they put it up or break. That's why they want a stock that has good volume, stock that has good market sentiment, and then also they can play effectively. These are the things that you must do. Then another one is, like I just mentioned, if you want to use charts, chart is very, very good for all this I'm saying, because each candlestick has a pattern. In that pattern, if you are really call a price action to read, like you can see that this index action, all this you can see as index action. You can see today that there's a difference between this candlestick here and the one is forming now and this one. This one is bigger than this one. It gives information, it communicates, it tells you story that you can see. The pattern of the chart also tells you story that you can see. This is why I said if you want to filter news, you must look at noise. Sorry, you must look at what your time frame. Look at your volume spike. These are two to use. You must look at the trend in the market by using your price action. Also, the difference between price and momentum is very, very key. Also, when you are trading, try to trade news. And also, when you're trading news, you pay attention what is sentiment, because the candle will tell you what is happening. And that is why we're using live chart. If news comes to the market today, you see the reaction in the market. Don't forget that when PZ released the result, you saw the reaction in the market. These are the things I said. Any part of all news that drive price, you must also pay attention to it. Even when we're hearing acquisition and merger will come, all these are things about it reflect on what on the volume and also on the candlestick you are looking at. That's why you must pay attention to your price action, look at your time frame, focus on trend, and also determine the direction of the trend. And also what is the strength of that trend is very, very key. Not just looking at trend, what is the strength of the trend. Then you use all these indicators I've just mentioned. So some can use as well look at the ADS to measure strength. You can also look at Bollinger for easy filtering of where to buy and when to sell. Because I tell you, price can go up and down. Within 2 days up and down will also will not shake you out of position, because you are looking at something that is guiding you to see where the strength is going, where the stock or the market is trending to. That's why you must pay attention to your ADS and also your Bollinger, for those also to filter news in the market or noise in the market. Also to trade your news, you must pay attention to this. But one thing is very, very important, that when you are trading, you need to know there's some what we call a pre-section decision that you need to take or before market happen. If there's news market, check check the release date of those news. That is your pre-session, the pre-trading section of the day. Check the release date of these companies to see where you can take action before that date or what you're expecting for the day. Once you're able to check the release date of these companies, especially those companies that will release earnings or macroeconomic data that we're expecting, economic data we're expecting, which is going to hit the market. Date is very important. That's why I don't joke about investing with date or investing with number. That means if you check the date or where the economic data or corporate earnings will hit the market, it's also part of your preparation for that. That's why it's called pre-session preparation for the market. Review market sentiment or momentum for overnight, and also overnight news. Also, you can also review it. What news I have overnight, how it's going to play out. You see when these days I can see when the news came about LID, acquisition or partnership. You can see that more than power of news. But that news alone tell you how far we take this news. That's why you must do what we call review of what overnight news to see how it's going to impact the market. How can you position? And if you're already in that stock, can I go to take that news to make money and go out? These are the things that will trigger your prices or sentiment that will move prices up. It's very, very good attention. Another one that you must go analyze your chart trend with your indicator that you understand. The indicator that gives you prompt. Use them to analyze. I mentioned two. I said ADS, I said Bollinger Band. Yes, a trend line is also there, but what matter is what time frame are you using so that you can filter noise and also know that there are what we call big trend, which are long trend, short trend. You must pay attention to all this. What is very, very important when you are trading. Yes, during the section, when the market is on, trade based on what? On technicals and what? And fundamental. Because you have seen the market, the action of the people will be there. That's why you are looking at what the market is doing. There are some stuff that pull back to the next day, they are up. So that people are thinking about that's why it's going up the next day. You must pay attention. Look at your technicals and fundamental. And especially now that we are doing a sector rotation, a price of portfolio for what end of the year, there are some stuff that should move your out of the way. Some also should stay your portfolio. Pay attention to this. They are very, very important anytime, any day. Then work up post section or your post trading for the day. What are the actions you do? You must keep record to know what works for you. That's why what works for you as a trader or investor, it doesn't work for me. The one that you understand. Don't say because Mr. A used this indicator, the one that works for that you can interpret easily, even when you are sleeping, and you can make that decision. That's why I say at the end of the day, take record what works for you and also what also disappoints you or what fails you. Once you're able to have this at your trading a plan and also you're trading a jot out or you're trading a plan or what I put it, what you look at to trade, it will go a long way to help you as a trader or investor. And that is the only way you can stay ahead of the market or reduce noise in the market and focus on what matters. Focusing on real action in the market is the key. And that's why you must take action, combine your technical and your fundamental to create wealth at the end of the day. You must pay attention to this. Here before our time, let's look at the chart. You can see that this chart now, as we speak, I told you earlier that this market has formed what we call inverted and shoulder. You can see that it's still extending, but market has crossed the 145,000 mark now. Don't forget that the peak of the market was 146,000. If market crosses this level where my cursor is now, we're going to see another uptrend, but we're seeing a kind of a sideways movement here. Until we see another breaker, you can see that this candlestick is better than this one, better than this one. The more with the story, candlestick tell you that more momentum and more volume should watch out when you are trading, because you need to know where the market is going. Yes, looking at this market, I can say, okay, let's call our indicators because of our time. Let's call two indicators and also look at the time frame for us to filter this noise in the market and make what inform investment decision. Look at our money flow is very, very key for us. We look at what our MACD and also our T line. Our T line, this class we know our T line is always what? Always 8. We must not forget that. We must consider our T line here. You can see that looking at the T line, I told you that this T line is part of also what able to know momentum in the market and also weakness in the market, strength and also weakness in the market. You can see that market now is actually above the T line. You can see for how many straight days now, for almost 8 days, market is sitting above the T line. For me, it's a good one. Market is looking up. MACD has confirmed a bullish MACD, a bullish MACD. You can see it here, an uptrend there, good one. But money flow is almost flat at 73. Here, the funds is still in the market. But we believe that when earnings coming, we're going to see more momentum and more activities. But see money flow looking up. As you speak now, money flow reading 73 for me is not a bad one. 75 is not a bad one at all. Say that something is happening in the market right away. For me, let's pay attention to what position ahead of this number. And from middle of this week, middle of this month, later at from 16, we'll start seeing results coming down gradually to the market. But the last week of October, you see influx of market earnings, and that you see where people production. But for those who that provide the liquidity, that said the smart money orders, it will come when they have done relent on their price on their earnings. Sorry, that will come in November. Then after the November, we're looking at what's in the Santa Claus rally, the seasonality will start playing out, and also end of the year, seasonality. Everything will come this last quarter. For me, you need to prepare and take advantage of it. Any opportunity you have, buy into value and go to work to make money. Also, trade your plan. Don't just say you are in the market. Have a plan and follow your plan. It will help you to move the market. Yes, to go with the market. Sorry. Look at the 1 hour chart. The 1 hour chart also tell us what is happening in the market. You can see on 1 hour chart, you can see it here. Market is still very, very strong. I put the T line, but we're seeing that in the last 1 hour there's position. People are taking profit again. You can see that this last one is also in red. But in all, we're seeing that money flow is almost 90 in this situation. Money flow is looking up and the market is looking up. then above the T line, the market is strong. Anytime you see that market is below the T line, that is a weakness. You can see that this market is coming down below the T line. That serves as what as resistance for the market. But when you see that the T line is having as support, you can see that this one are out of the time that the market is what is strong, and you will pay attention to it. If you look at also your MACD on a daily chart on a live slide, I see that MACD is also going down here, looking down. But look at the histogram here where it's coming down, and this for what for a 1 hour chart. Let's look at also 2 hours chart and the 4 hour chart for quality day. On the 4 hour chart, you can start the 2 hour chart. Market is still strong above the T line. As Omodion 86, looking up 91 now. Consider that the market is also charging. You can see 91 looking up for 2 hour chart. For MACD is also bullish as we speak now. For quickly look at 4 hour chart, and that's last time frame we're going to look. 4 hour chart, look at it to give us a clear direction. 4 hour chart is very, very also strong. You can see it here trading above the T line. Money flow, yes, try to start trend and reading 87, and MACD is still also bullish as we speak. Yes, for me, there's no cause for panicking. But let's look at those stocks that are making a wave right now. Let's look at what is happening in NACO. Let's pay attention to NACO and see our time in fast spend. Oh, we are today the last stock what I'm looking at. You can see that NACO is looking up on the 4 hour chart. You can see that a pullback, but now you can see let's say a band here as we speak. Money flow is also reading around 58, looking up on 4 hour chart. If we look at also what is it talking on a 1 hour chart for NACO, you need to say you can see a band was seen after you pull back to almost around within 1 hour. You can see the rebound now back to almost 111 again. And this is stock that I've traded as high as was almost 120 or 117. I mean, there's still upside potential for this stock, if their number beats expectation. But already seen that the money flow is still very, very low. It is that from the entering, we need to, and this is what we call it oversold region, and that's where it is now. I think this is the right time for you to jump into the stock. Look at also your MACD, or look at your MACD. I can see that the histogram is also looking up. This is the longest histogram as of today now at this hour. In 1 hour, I can see that it's also going up again. Once it crossed, it now become already we are seeing money flow is looking up to read around 31 for this stock. Yet if you look at the day chart and for quality, the day chart, you can see that the pullback yesterday now it's also rebounding. You can see that it has not got cover yesterday, but there's a story that this candlestick is also telling you here. Pay attention to it. Money flow on the day chart is looking up at 39, and MACD is also bullish on NACO. Thank you, and see you on Friday. Enjoy the rest of your trading. Bye.